This is TWiT.
This kind of broke shortly before showtime, and at first it was an FCC filing, which those are always fun. They come through, they're like, okay, we now know there's something happening, and then immediately after, the company Snap seemed to announce the product. So I don't know if this was like a reaction to the FCC story. They were like, oh well, you know, why let that steal all the energy? Let's be on it. Or if it was just the timing worked out. But Snap has a new gadget that it's announcing officially. It's not another pair of spectacles for your face, which we can talk about. Not for my face. I don't have them. But it's a camera in the sky. And this is actually a really interesting idea here. So these are some of the photos that were initially shown off with the FCC filing. And so this was kind of the first clue. You know, it's like a yellow.
That's a big clue.
Yeah, it's pretty much everything, right? Except for all the marketing speak around it. So what is it called? It's called the Pixy, Pixy. And it's a mini drone. It's a little drone that's, they say pocket size, although looking at it, I'm kind of like, all right, well, you got to have like large or extra large size pockets for that to fit in. But I guess technically, I can imagine, you know, being able to carry this drone around in your pocket. It's bright yellow, not entirely, well, I guess that's the Snap color, right?
Exactly.
Snap's all about yellow. So there you go. Looks pretty sturdy. Like I've seen a good amount of different drones and everything. And sometimes drones, for as active as they are flying around, crashing to the ground and everything, they still look like they could be kind of fragile. Like, you know what I mean? Like the different pieces of them look very exposed and everything.
Right.
This thing seems like a very kind of like tight box that the quads fit into. So I don't know if that means that it's, you know, really resistant to breaking easily or whatever, but it looks that way nonetheless. It's meant to be portable. It's meant to travel with you. It's available today in U.S. and France for $229.99. So $230 for a mini drone. It has a camera on board. And so it can record videos up to 2.7K resolution. It also can shoot 12 megapixel photos. It has a replaceable battery. So essentially the battery can power this thing for 5 to 8 flights, which doesn't sound like a lot of flights. I don't know how long those flights are, but nonetheless, I guess that's neat to have that option. And it's lightweight. It's 101 grams. So there you go. And actually, you're seeing right now kind of the Snap released video, which shows a lot of different footage from the camera.
It's like half a second of footage, though, you know.
Yeah. Little clips here and there. I don't know the length of the clips that are recorded, like how long it records for. I didn't see any sort of information about that, but it doesn't have a controller. So this is not a drone that you pick up a controller and you fly around, you know, in whatever way you choose. It has a single button and then kind of a little dial to select the mode.
Okay.
And that cycles through 4 different pre-configured flight paths. So you can say, I want this to float in front of us and just take a selfie. And so, you know, it takes off, it just floats out there. That's where it's like the replacement of the selfie stick. It goes out and you can get your selfie. It can also orbit around you. So that's kind of a cool effect, which we've seen, you know, a lot of drones actually with cameras on board are programmed to do that. This is obviously made a lot more everyday consumer friendly. And then there's a follow as you walk and a follow as you run mode. I think those are the 4 primary modes that it has on board. And so you basically just select the mode, hit the button, it takes off from your palm, and it does the thing. I guess it starts recording. I don't know if it's recording immediately or if it gets in place and starts recording or whatever. And then all of that footage is then channeled back to the phone, of course, to the Snap app. If you're using Snap, it's all ends up inside of Snapchat memories. And then you can do whatever you want from there if you want to spruce it up with effects or just share it out that way or whatever. That's basically what it does. So yeah, it flies, it photos or videos, and then it lands and you've got the footage to show for it.
I think I would end up being disappointed by the, what is the word? The very staunch guidelines. It doesn't, the limitations. I think I would be, kind of bothered by the limitations of it because the idea sounds cool, but there's so little that you are able to do, and I would want it. I'm looking at this and I'm like, I've got a little drone here, and it's got a camera built into it.
Yeah.
I want to do so much more with it than what it's giving me the ability to do.
Yeah.
And according to The Verge, because it seems like after the FCC document leaked, and then after, or not leaked, it was not, but was noticed, and after that, then all of the different tech sites were able to put out their embargoed reviews of it. The Verge did a review of it, and one of the things that they say is that a full charge will get you 5 to 8 flights, and each flight ranges from roughly 10 to 20 seconds. So you don't get very much footage on each of the 5 to 8 flights, and each 5 to 8 flights is only 10 to 20 seconds.
Yeah.
You know, I would want to like capture, I want one flight that has, 20 times 8 as opposed to just that short period of time or what have you.
Yeah, or have the option.
Yeah, have the option to keep it in flight for a little bit longer. So then I'm going, I should just get a more expensive drone that can do that, where I can shoot cool footage of like running through the forest or what have you.
Yeah.
And I think that that's kind of been the limitation of everything that Snap has made. It's always, they always have such a specific idea in mind.
Very specific, yes.
And they don't want you to do anything outside of that. And through that comes the limitation of giving people a tool and seeing what it is that they do with that. When the Apple Watch first came out, it was supposed to be this sort of communication device. And Apple originally called it the most personal device we've ever made. And it was all about how you could share your heartbeat with someone else.
Yeah, I remember
and
that.
how there were all these like tapping things where you could send messages to people. But as the Apple Watch got to more people and Apple saw how they were using it, it was more of a health product. It was more of a fitness and health wearable. And Apple pivoted based on that. But from Spectacles number 1 all the way up to whatever Spectacles number we're on now, and now with this drone and whatever else Snap makes, they come up with an idea and they limit things so much that you don't even get a chance to experiment with the other things that it can do. And I think that is what keeps these things as weird boutique products that not everybody ends up using.
They really continue to be that. Any of the technology that's coming out of Snap. It's interesting that a social media company, because I guess I would consider Snap primarily a social media company, even though they consider themselves more than that, right? They consider themselves a hardware company and everything. But I think at the foundation of all of this is we're making products that make sharing on Snap more interesting. It's all based around their social media platform, or whatever you want to call it. And so the devices that you're talking about strike me as devices that maybe have the benefit of being more all-purpose, right?
Yeah, exactly.
A device that's created, like a drone with a camera that is created to do many cool things that isn't tied to Snap. And Snap seems to be wanting to be.
You can only use this for Snap.
Yeah,
you have
adding
to spend
value
a lot
for
of money on
service
it, and you can only use it. And it's like basically the people who get this are the influencers who they send it to for free, because they want the influencers to use this.
Right, and then other people see that.
And then other people see that and
that's interesting.
think that's cool. But then most of those people don't get it because then they see the price of it. And so I don't know because I remember I had the second version of Snap's Spectacles. And I think I had the first and the second version, but the second version obviously was a little bit better. And what I liked about it, and what I still kind of wish that I had today, is that it's a camera that is at your eye line. And there are often times when I am doing something in real life and I'm going, man, I wish that I had a camera that could see everything my eyes could see and was at that height so that it's very easy for me to like do a tutorial, for example. If I'm, my brother sends me a message asking for help with something, and then I could actually physically do that thing and talk about it as I was doing it. And so I remember I wanted to do a review of a product. I know it was an unboxing, actually, so something even simpler. And I was like, I'm going to use these spectacles to do that because it will be at eyeline, da-da-da-da-da. So I put them on, and you have to keep hitting the button to get them to record. So I would be trying to do the unboxing, but at the same time, I'm thinking in my head, part of my attention is focused on the
button,
exactly.
Right.
There's a little LED light that lets you know when it's over. So boop, over it, boop, boop. And exporting the video was then this whole thing because it connects over Bluetooth. And so transferring video files over Bluetooth takes forever. And you know, it was all of this work, and I got the footage exported. And of course, the thing with Snapchat Spectacles is that it shoots this circular video.
Right.
So that in Snapchat's app, you can like move your phone and you see more footage with it. So then I had to edit it in a certain way to get it to actually look right. And it was just so much
a pain
work
in the butt. Yeah, totally.
To do more with it than what it was designed for.
You know what you needed, actually? You needed
anything else?
You needed Google Glass.
That would have been,
and I'm not even joking.
No,
Like that was the thing that I loved about Google Glass, and one of the only things that I really engaged with. Yeah, there's actually I have it shared on. I think it's shared on YouTube somewhere. Way back in the day, Tech News Today. When Tom Merritt was with TWiT and doing TNT, and I was the board operator, you know, TD, and I wore glass through an entire episode and then released it on YouTube.
That's cool.
And it was my perspective switching the show and everything like that.
You could see your hands.
And it was actually very easy to do.
Is it still up there?
It's got to be. I don't know how to find it quickly.
I definitely want to check it out afterward.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't even know if that's where I shared it. I can't remember, to be honest, but it was so long ago. But I mean, it was my point being that it was really easy to do. Yeah. Like you set record and it would record until the internal storage was entirely full, you know, if you wanted to. And
that's what I want. Yeah.
And it was really useful. But that ends up being kind of highlighting the difference between what you're talking about here, right? Like a device that's created specifically for Snap, which only really matters very much if you happen to be on Snapchat, right? And care about spending a couple $100 for a bonus feature / functionality around sharing on Snapchat versus Google Glass, which for all of its faults, certain aspects of it were open for interpretation.
Yes.
Like you could literally just use it the way you wanted to use it in different directions.
And that's how I think, because I think that provides more value for a thing, so that I could look at this and go, okay, I'm not going to use it with Snapchat because I don't use Snapchat, but this little drone that I don't have to worry about regulations around and that has 2 cameras on it, because that's the other thing. There's a downward facing camera that is just used to make sure that it raises and lowers from your hand. What if I could use that camera? You know what I mean?
Right.
That would be cool too, because then you could get an over the head shot. You wave up at the drone instead. But no, Snap has that all locked off. Someone will end up getting this thing and hacking it.
Sure.
But you know, I don't think that it should even have to go that far. And a lot of companies that are making different things. In fact, just on the Tech Guy last week, Dick DeBartolo showed off this gadget that's kind of cool. It's like a 4x4 Rubik's Cube instead of the, 3x3 Rubik's Cube. And each of the cubes is a little LED or LCD screen. And so all of those screens light up, and it's a game. And let me see. We'll go to gizwiz.me, and we will visit the Tech Guy page because on there, okay, it's called the Wow Cube. And so it's got 24 screens, and you can play, they have special games that you can play with it. But what's cool about the Wow Cube, which wowcube.com, if John, you want to pull that up, is that they released and they open sourced the software so that you can make stuff for it. They've got an SDK that's going to be available, and there's an emulator as well. And so you will be able to create little games for it. So this device, I really think wowcube.com is the better one because it'll have more visuals. This little device is fascinating, and it's very purpose-built, but at the same time, people can create things for it. You can make little widgets for it. And that makes my brain, go, ooh, now I kind of want to do this even more than the other. Yeah. So, let's watch the a little bit of the Through Glass video.
Oh, yeah.
If we can.
So Burke actually located it, and so I put it into our Slack and into the chat room and everything. But yeah, it's a flashback. Me watching this. I don't know if you have access to it, John, but Yeah. So, and I mean, the quality was fine. It was good enough.
Yeah.
I do wonder about the quality of the video that's recorded on the Snap video. Like, I don't know if
people
you
were
noticed.
saying that the Verge article said it's not for viewing on a large screen.
Yeah.
It's fine on an iPhone.
Right, right. I mean, even the promo video that they released, when I was watching it on a big screen. I was kind of like, that video looks okay. But
what's that showing in the top left?
that's the actual line cut. So that's the cut. So what you're seeing, sorry, audio listeners, what you're seeing the majority of the screen is from my Google Glass doing all the control stuff. What you're seeing in the top left is the final product.
Okay, so you overlaid that in the post.
Yeah, I did that in post. Yeah.
I thought, wow, I didn't know it had enough processing power to stream live something in the corner of it.
Yeah. There it is.
Wow.
There's my nerdy self wearing Google Glass. Sorry, audio listeners,
that is
but you have to envision
exactly
it.
the idea.
Yeah.
That, so anyway.
It's cool.
Snap, do better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Spoilers about too.
I know. I give them props for trying new things, right?
Yeah, that is true.
It's cool that they're creating something like this, even though, and I think I probably said this when they did spectacles, even though at the end of the day they're not going to sell very many of these, but I applaud them for trying new things.
Yeah.
And maybe this leads to a very portable selfie stick drone that does work well.
Yeah, I could see Amazon doing it, and because it's Amazon and they've built out the ALEXA API, SDK, and all that kind of stuff, it would be more open by default. Yeah, and they already do have a drone that's a security drone for within your house. So Amazon, if there was an idea to steal, I think this one would be it, because yeah, they've got a much more open platform.
It's surprising they don't have it already. They've thrown so many, much spaghetti against the wall.
They do have a lot of spaghetti projects, and they've got the money to do it. Yeah. As Snap, I feel like it is at least a little bit of a risk for them to be doing these different products, because hardware is not cheap to actually manufacture hardware. Yeah. So I feel like these are more just Evan Spiegel's desire to make fun things that he's thinking about versus it being something that is supposed to be profitable for the company.
Totally agree.